welcome back to Lessons with Mark. This one is all about residual cooking temperatures. Now, in these videos, what I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to be talking to you. I'm not going to be doing any cooking, so if you want to see me cook, then go and watch my other videos. So this time we're going to be talking about residual cooking temperatures. Now, it is primarily, or carryover cooking as old Kenji Lopez likes to say, it's primarily for things like your steaks and your chickens and that kind of stuff. So let's start there and then I'll move on to other examples to give you an example to help you understand. So I'm just going to draw a line there before I get too carried away. So when cooking things like steaks, now you can Google the temperatures of where steaks should be cooked to. This top end here, 49, is basically the number that Kenji Lopez is saying in his book. Rare, 49 degrees, medium, 55, medium, also medium rare, 55, medium, 60, 62, okay? Now what you need to think of is when you have a thin steak and you go there's not going to be enough substance for it to carry on cooking as much, okay? So if you wanted to cook a thin steak to rare, you'd probably take it to 49 degrees, okay? Medium rare, 55 degrees. Let it rest, which is the residual cooking time, the carryover cooking. Carry on cooking from that point and you'll have a wonderful steak. Now, the point of getting it correct is when you start cooking things that are slightly thicker. So let's go for like a nice chunky ribeye or a T-bone or a porterhouse or whatever. So at that point, what you've got to think is that object is going to contain more heat. Therefore, the more heat is going to penetrate and continue penetrating, residual cooking temperature. So you have to let things rest. So if you're doing something that's like a rare steak, cook it to 45 degrees. Steaks will carry on cooking anywhere from 3 to 5 degrees. So I know it can be quite specific. That's why you need a temperature probe to stick right into the middle of it. And therefore, you'll get a wonderfully rested rare steak. These temperatures are wildly different over the internet, so I would just say, you know, figure out what works for you, how you like your steaks cooked, get yourself a thermopen, and then you can go from there. Chicken is exactly the same, right? I think, don't quote me on this, quote me if you want, sack me. In the UK, 72 degrees Celsius is food, health and hygiene. Let's have a quick Google. Chicken, temp, safety, health, hygiene. 73.9, risky. So 72 degrees would be fine, don't worry about it. But by cooking your chicken to 72 degrees spot on, what's going to happen is that residual cooking temperature is probably going to take that up to 77 degrees and you're going to start to get a dried out chicken. Don't want a dry bird. So what you can do, and what most places do, and they kind of like push the boundaries a little bit, is imagine if you took that to 62 degrees, let it rest, it'll probably go up to 67, 60, maybe 68, and you will find, don't quote me on this and don't do this, this is not an experiment, that this is totally fine and completely cooked and you'll get a perfectly moist chicken breast, okay? These guidelines are like for people that are just like, you know, doing stuff in restaurants so they don't kill people. But if you're cooking at home, you'll be absolutely fine. I wouldn't worry. I reckon 68 is pretty spot on. 67, 68 is pretty good. So moving away from meat, just in case we have any vegans in the house, residual cooking temperature is such a fantastic thing. This isn't a vegan example either. But eggs, for example, if you do eggs and you're doing scrambled eggs and you're cooking them, excuse me, don't ever take them to the point where you want to eat them. Think that that pan that you've put them in is hot, the ingredients are hot, it will carry on cooking beyond the point that you've cooked it to. So if you want really decent scrambled eggs, people like Gordon Ramsay will put a bit of creme fraiche in there. What does that do? It's cold. It stops the cooking process. It cools things down and you'll get a lovely creamy egg. Now you can achieve that by undercooking your eggs slightly and letting the temperature of the eggs carry on cooking. If you haven't seen the eggs tutorial on boiled eggs, go and have a look at that because I do talk about residual cooking temperature in that. But it's also things, you know, like pasta. Like if you take pasta to the point of eating it, it's still going to be warm. So you've got to think, if you cook pasta to al dente, where everyone wants, absolutely delicious, but then you're going to be warming that up in a sauce, it's going to carry on cooking in that sauce, that carryover cooking piece. So think about what you're cooking, how you're cooking it, and is residual cooking going to play a role in how you're serving it? I would always say yes. So have a little think, look around and see what things you're cooking that have residual cooking temperatures. Can you say residual cooking temperatures one more time? Absolutely. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Shink.